Hi, in this video we're going to take a look back 13 years ago about what I did with the aquarium hobby and what the tanks are in this current situation and what I plan to do with it now. So check it out. 13 years ago I was really heavily into this hobby. I did it mainly with my girlfriend back then as well. So we heavily got into it, and my best friend and business partner back then was really heavily into it. That's how we got into it. So we'll go and take a look at the rundown and what the state of the tanks are right now and what I kind of plan to do with it. I have plans for a couple of them and not really sure what to do with the rest of them, as well as I'm going to get a couple new tanks and we'll see what becomes out of them. So why did I get out of this hobby 13 years ago? Is mainly because it was really stressful in my time of life back then. So that didn't help with trying to keep everything maintained and keep everything up to date. Also, when I broke up with my girlfriend then, the passion kind of just went out with it. We did it as a couple, so that was one of the main things. When you break up with somebody, you kind of want to like leave it all behind, everything that reminds you of her or whatever. You know, you guys been through it. I want to get back into it because I needed another hobby that keeps me active. What I do all day for work is sit in front of the computer. It's an IT job, as well as my other hobby, which is miniature painting and miniature gaming. It's a lot of sitting behind the desk in front of the computer, doing all the social networking and all that stuff, as well as just painting the miniatures and playing the games are usually just behind the table and doesn't get you, active. And especially watching YouTube and checking out what the latest thing is about the hobby, it really got me into it. I think it was Rude Joey's channel that really got me into. He's like the do-it-yourself fish keeper thing. He had all these projects and showed you how he did himself type of thing, and that's something I want to do. I want to make my own canister filters and maybe even make my own tanks. It'd be cheaper to do that, so we'll see what happens. So here is the rundown of my tanks. This is my 120-gallon tank. This used to be our community planet tank. And it was one of my favorite tanks. It was huge and it really highlighted the room and actually the whole place. So what I want to do with it now is, clean it up. There's a lot of cleaning work to do. Check everything that's inside of it out. And redo it as a discus tank. I always wanted to do a discus tank. So I think this would be a good time to do it. This is my 50-gallon tank. This used to be our saltwater reef tank. And we had a lot of fun with that. The problem was it was pretty expensive and it was more of a pain in the butt, I think, to maintain in a freshwater tank. Am I going to do saltwater tanks again? I'm not sure. Maybe a nano reef tank, but that's about it. Because those corals get mighty expensive. This is my 12-gallon Eclipse bi-wheel filter tank. And we actually had a couple of these, and we'll have the 6-gallon version of it as well. 6-gallon, I tried to do a nano reef tank with it. I actually did for a few months, but then I want to switch back to planted tank on that one. On this 12-gallon, I turned it into an angel tank, which was a little small for angels, but was a really calming tank, and I liked how it turned out. This is a tank I had a long time. This was my mother's tank. I mean, this tank we must have had for 25 years or something like that. It's a grill tank. It's about 70 gallons. It has a built-in, sump filter, so it really is probably like 65 gallons if you don't count the built-in sump filter. There was a crack underneath it, so I was just going to do a paludarium out of it. And then my friend said, well, why don't you fix it? And then back then it was fixing tanks like this was still new. But nowadays, it's easy to fix a tank like this. You just patch it up with some weld and pieces of acrylic. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll figure out what to do with this tank. And that leads up to the other tanks I had. Right before I got out of the hobby 13 years ago, I bought a 20-gallon long. And that's what I'm going to do for my first tank. I'm going to take that. I always wanted to do a Iwagumi style tank, and that's what I'm going to do. That's the first tank that I'm going to hit. Is a Iwagumi style tank, which is probably one of the hardest tanks to maintain and keep up and build, because there's a lot of high light demanding plants and all that stuff. But I'm going to hit that. I'm going to hit the ground with both feet wet, so to say. So that's how I'm going to get back to this hobby, revamp all my tanks, as well as do some new tanks, and then enjoy it again, because this is something I really did enjoy before. So in the comments down below, let me know what kind of tanks you currently keep, or plan to get into and keep, or had kept, or you just watching this channel because of my good looks, right? So thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe to my channel and like this video if you like it. And I will see you in the next video.